And here we go. Apuleius, the golden ass. Et cum dicto. And with this said, or after this has been said, Eubet, he ordered, uxor, the accusative, his wife, and here's the infinitive that goes with Eubet, to leave. We have an enclitic on ut, and in eos locus, he ordered to leave so that in eos locum, in her place, Eubet, we have again, he ordered that in her place ad sistam, so that I would stay in her place, or I would take her position. And we have an enclitic again, me qui, and me in the accusative, etiam nunc veracundia, even now with modesty, cuncta tantum, cuncta tantum, that's the accusative present participle, goes with me in the accusative. And so with me hesitating now, with an ablative use of veracundia from modesty, I delayed a little bit. Detrahens. This is the present participle of the nominative compared to this one, which was accusative. He dragged me back, actually. He dragged, detrahens. And this is the past passive. These look like ablatives. So, having adrepta the Licinia is the edge of his garment. Adrepta, because Licinia is female, grabbed hold of that. He dragged me. Ad side, it's an imperative. Inquit, he said, istics the adverb for over there, or here actually. So, ad sid, here, sit here, compared to this ad sistam over there. Nam pray. Pray is an adverb or a preposition. Sometimes it means in front. It can also mean because of or in comparison. So for pray metu, because of fear, we have fear in the ablative. A genitive, because of the fear of latrones, of bandits. Nulla cessibula, basically there's no little chairs. And ne sufficientem, present participle accusative, and there's not sufficient supellictem, which is accusative for furniture. So because of out of the fear for bandits, we've got no chairs and we don't have sufficient furniture. Licet is the impersonal, parare is the infinitive to prepare. So we don't have any things prepared for us, none of these chairs or furniture. Feci et sit, 2 sentences. So I did, which means I did sit down, and sic, and thus he continued on. We've got an inquit, so he's speaking in quotes. Ego te, quite common in Latin from the put I and then you. So we'll start off by going, I even concerning, days concerning, ista corporis speciosa habitudini, from the appearance or the beauty of body, habitudini can mean the bearing as well, and day, another enclitic, hac virginale, which looks adjective, process can mean furthermore or absolutely, it's an adverb. Veracundia, it's the shame or modesty again. And so looking at your appearance of your body, which is like handsome, and of your virginal shame, furthermore. Prodatum, you've been produced by a generosa stirp. This is ablative, which probably means by a very famous stock or a noble family. And recte, another adverb, and rightly conicaram. I'm rightly conjecturing this. Sed et meus demius eadam literis pronuntiat. But also my Demeus, also my friend Demeus is the way they put it, he pronounces this or announces this, eandam literis, in the same letter that he just read. Ergo, therefore, brevitatem, we've got into the accusative, gurgustiole, nostri ne spurnas peto. So therefore I'm seeking, we might want to put, ne spurnas, that you don't spurn or you don't turn down. The brevitatum Gergostioli nostri. Gergostioli is like a hovel or an out-of-the-way place. Brevitatem usually means brief, but in spatial matters of a house, it means it's a very narrow or short or small house. Erit, tibi. Tibi's the dative. So there shall be to you adjacent and eke. Eke is an interjection, which means look. There for you is this adjacent illud there cubiculum. This adjacent bedroom, an honestum receptaculum. So it's an honest place where you can stay, receptaculum. And for the daily dictionary, we'll show you what brevitatem. It comes from brevitas. It's a noun. So of space, shortness or narrowness, and there's of time, and there's of discourse. Okay. Fact libenta. Libenta is the adverb. Diversarius in nostro. Diversus is where you stay, go off the main road and you stay somewhere. So fact doesn't take ut, as you know, so it means make this your place willingly or gladly in our little house. Make this the place where you'll stay. Nem et maiorum domen dignitation. For also to be more dignitation, more worthiness of our home, feceris tua, you shall make, and to you, tibi, the specimen gloriosum ad rogaris, you'll arrogate for yourself some appearance of glory. You'll take for yourself. If contentus, that's contentus as, if you are content, lare parvulo, these are ablative singulars, with our small little la, which is a way of saying our small little house, the la's of the god of the house. Thesae ilius cognominus patris tuae virtutes emulaveris, which you shall rival the virtues or the valours of your father, of the cognomen Theseus. And ilus is just the demonstrative pronoun. Who non est aspernatus, who did not spurn in the past passive, what do you call them, participles. Anus hecales, that's the old woman hecales, or the hecal in English. He didn't spurn the hospitium tenue, or the tenuous hospitium. Meagre, basically, is what I was saying, the meagre hospitality of the old woman hecales. Et vocata en cellula. And, past passive, having called his little maidservant, inquit he said, fotis he said, sarcinul is another diminutive, hospitus genitive, susceptas. You take up the little bags of our guest, cum fide conde, and when you have conded them, when you've put them away them trustworthily, loyally, in illud cubiculum, in that bedroom, and simul at the same time, from the promptuario, from the storeroom or something like that. Oleum unctuae, oil for anointing himself, and lintia tersve, and giving him a towel so he could to wipe himself, etc. Hoc idem, and the rest of these things. Usi for his use. Profer, that's imperative. Occatur is quickly. When you got these things for his use, quickly, and hospitum mem, and my guest, produc, we have duck, dick, fur, and fac, which are irregular imperatives. And so lead my guest ad proximus balneus to the nearby bath house. Satis arduo itinere etqui prolixo. Fatigatus says. So he's satisfactorily fatigued, and this is an ablative, so it's from his arduous and prolixo and lengthy itinere, his long journey. Chapter 24. His ego audites. I, having heard these things, mores et parsimonium ratiocinans. That's that present participle. So this means I was thinking of his mores, his personality, and his parsimony, and his cheapness, or his spendthriftery of Milo. So having heard these things, thinking over his personality and his cheapness, and volens qui, and wanting another present participle, to considerare me, ei, to him, artius, that's a comparative, which just means rather more narrowly, or wanting to get tighter with him. So nihil imquam, now he's talking. Nothing, I said, rerum istarum, that's a demonstrative pronoun, nothing of these things, quae, which, it's a relative pronoun, commenantor, which accompany nos, us, ubique, everywhere, itinerus, of the journey. So I don't need any of these things, which would be the oil and the towel, etc., because these things always accompany us on our journey. Indigimus, it's a verb for meaning I'm lacking. So nothing, indigimus, nothing is lacking, istum rerum, of these things. Sed et balneus facili per conta bimor. This looks like it's a plural, but since he's one person, he'll be asking just as if for himself, as if it's singular. But also, I can make an inquiry easily, balneus, which is accusative, is it? So you can easily make an inquiry to where the baths are. Plane, so clearly, quod est mihi, clearly what is to me, assume praecipium, which means especially, assume means the top, the utmost thing. So clearly what's most, especially the top priority, equo, which is his horse in a dative or ablative. The horse qui me, who me strenue, take that as an ablative or an adverb. He pervexed me. So his horse has strongly or strenuously carried him. Faenum atqui audium. This means hay and barley. Acceptis istis numolis to Fotis. So you, Fotis, having taken these coins, numilis, imito, buy for the horse this hay and barley. Here's actus in rebus meus. So these things are acted out, these things were done, and rebus meus, my things, in illo cubicule conditus. So this is like an ablative absolute. These were all done, and my things were conditus, put away in my little bedroom. Pergens, that's now into the nominative of the present participle. So it means I continued on, ipsi myself, ad balneus, to the baths. Ut prius, but first, aliquid nobis cibatvi prospiceram. But first, I was prospiceram, I was looking for something in the way of food for us. Forum cupidinus peto. So I sought the forum, because I was desiring these things. Inque with the enclitic, and in eo, and in eo, in there, expositum, in the accusative, was placed out a rich-looking fish, or a fancy-looking fish. Video. And so I've gone in, desiring this, I went into the forum, and there I see expositum placed out, a good-looking fish, and per contato pretio, and with the price inquired about, quod centum numinis indicaret. So someone indicated that it was 100 coins. As spinatus, so I spurned this, viginti denaris prestinavi, which is perfect. So I bought it for 20 denaries, in which he'd wanted, looks like 100 sesterces probably. Inde. So then me commodum egretientem, so which is the accusative present participle. Just, commodum is just, it's the adverb for just. So then just as I was egretientem, as I was leaving, continentor, it's a deponent, I met with, I had an encounter with, Pythias, a condiscipulus. It means a fellow disciple, a fellow student. Apud Athenes Atticus Meus. He had been my fellow student at Athens, so he'd been Meus, he'd been my fellow student. who me post eloquentum multum temporis, who me after some amount of much of time, so after so much of time, a manta agnitum, agnitum means he recognized the me, agnitum me, he recognized me, manta means lovingly or very friendly, invaded. So he continented him, he ran into him, and he came into his personal space. And we have enclitic and emplexus, and hugged, and comita, and very friendly, diosculatus, and they kissed. My Lucy. So my is the vocative, and Lucy is Lucius. When you take the US off a second, it becomes Lucy in the vocative. So my Lucius 8, he said, Sat pol due es quod intervisimus te. It's been such a long time by Pollux, it's one of the gods. Diu is for a long time. Intervisimus, since he's seen him basically, since I've seen te you. But Hercules, but by Hercules. Exindi cum a clitio magistro. These are in that position. Digressi sumus. A very normal sentence here. It's been a long time since I saw you. Then, when we digressi sumus, when we left from our teacher, Magistro Clitius. Que, it's a relative pronoun, starts lots of Latin sentences. Autem is however, or but, or moreover. Tibi causa peregrinatus, causes taking a genitive, huis. So, but what is the causa, the reason for your travelling here? Tibi, to you. Crastino die skies inquam. I said, you'll know tomorrow day, if that makes sense. So tomorrow you'll find out. Sed quid istud. But what is this? Gaudio voti. I'm rejoicing you, or I'm congratulating to you. For et lixes et virges. For also the attendants, for both the attendants and rods, et again, and the habitum, which is the clothing, process, we'll take it as absolutely here. So, for your attendants and your rods and your clothing, are congruentum, congruent to you being a magistrate in you, in te video I see. For I see that these attendants and rods and the clothing of a magistrate are on you. And nonam curimus, so we take care of the yearly grain supply, 8, he said. And gerimus, I'm conducting myself as an aedile, which is a market inspector. Et sequid, and if there is anything obsonare cupis, anything you desire obsonare to buy for provisions, utiqui, can mean several things, at least or especially, commodabimus. I'll be accommodating to you especially. Okay? Ab nuabam. So I shook my head no. Quippy, sense. Qui yam cene affitum piscatum prospexoramos. Prospexoramos means I've seen far off or long ahead. So I'd foreseen yam already or now. I'd already seen now. Affatum's a bit like satis, except I've got enough fish for his dinner. So basically, he shook his head no. He'd already taken care of getting fish for dinner. Said enum. Enum just means the reason. So, but for Pythias, visa sportula, having seen the basket and enclitic sarciseque, and he'd taken up aspect into his sight, planorium piscibus. The piscibus and the sarcises, these look like ablative plurals. So he took them up so that he can more plainly or more mainly clearly see them aspectum in his sight. At has quisquillas quante parasti. Parastis are perfect for means you. How much did you procure, quantes? How much did you procure this quisquillas, this rubbish? Vix inquam. Scarcely, I said, extorsimus piscatori. I have twisted the arm. I've extorted from this fisherman Accipere to accept Viginti denarium, 20 of the denariuses. So I barely just twisted out of the fisherman 20 denarius.